All right, so you're going to copy these boxes the same way that I do. And there's going to be 5 of them, which is kind of arbitrary, but I see it as a...
You want that big box too? You want a box and a box?
No, not around.
No.
Just, yeah, I just do that to create my area.
Gotcha.
All right, so this is sort of like the anatomy. So make sure you're copying these notes down, guys. Laptop's closed up. This is the anatomy of an essay, okay? And it's tailored to the TOK essay, but it works for pretty much any essay you're going to write, including extended essay, okay? So this is something that you can look to and try to remember when you might be struggling a little bit to get words in on your extended essay. All right, so this is basic, right? We've got our intro at the beginning and our conclusion at the end. Now, your claim, all right, is going to start everything off. It's your research question in your extended essay, and it's going to be your response to the prompt that you get when you start writing on this in class on Thursday, all right? So that's your claim, all right? What is your response to the research question, to the prompt, whatever prompt that you're working on, okay? Next, you're going to present your evidence. This is incredibly important. In the TOK essay, you have to provide evidence. And in every essay that you ever write, again, for the rest of your life, you will need to provide evidence and citations, okay? It's just how it is, right? Your first real exposure to it was with the extended essay, I would say. You maybe wrote research papers in other classes for other stuff, but you're gonna be writing research papers for almost every class in college, almost every class. Okay, and they're all going to follow this same general approach, okay? And then
Counter.
your counter plus resolution, okay? Now there's a lot more specifics to this, but this is the basic structure of what you need to accomplish. Now, you could think to yourself, well, how is that? Shouldn't I be doing this in every paragraph? And that's what I'm going to show you next. But even if you did it generally in this way, in a 5-paragraph structure, you've done your job in terms of accomplishing your point. Let's close up the screens, guys. I'm going through this. All right, so intro, claim, evidence, counter, plus resolution and conclusion. And you might think, well, why isn't the resolution the conclusion, right? Because the conclusion has more stuff in it. It's going to have your implications, which is basically like, now that I've accomplished this goal, then what do we do moving forward, okay? So there's a little more to the conclusion than just resolving the counter, all right? All right, now you're going to put these over here. Now, this doesn't matter how many you put, okay?
So I can put one.
Well, no. That's good. No, it needs to be more than one. But basically, you could draw an infinity here because this could have as many possible sections as you need. All right?
What's that part called?
All right, and so this is going, all of this is going to be your body. This again is intro. And this is conclusion. All right? And so what you need to understand is that it goes like this. All right? That each paragraph that you write, each body paragraph is a mini essay. Okay? That's the concept that I want you to get into your head, because it will help you write so much. Because instead of thinking of a body paragraph as something on its own, that like, how do I kind of come up with a new body paragraph on this? Now you can think of it in its component parts. Okay? Now, it could have, it doesn't matter how you structure this. In reality, you want to create some variety, okay? So let's imagine, for example, that this was your extended essay, okay? So this might have one paragraph. This might have 3 paragraphs, and 2, and 1, and 3. Because depending on the importance of the section, okay, you're going to, spread it out a little bit more, okay? If the example and the evidence that you're utilizing is a really strong one, then you can spend more time on it, okay? Now, there's a little bit of a strategy here too, right? So when you're looking at, and this is what you guys are going to want to do with your extended essay as we start to work on them over the next week or so, you're going to want to take your extended essay and look at it, zoom out, and look at the whole thing, and kind of sketch this out on a paper and say, okay, what are my main sections, and what are my points? And then you're going to want to think about what's the strongest and what's the weakest, right? Because the essay is not going to be strong, right? Or, I guess it could be weak. But even with that, you're still going to have 1 or 2 paragraphs. Even if your essay sucks, you're going to have a couple that are a little better than the others, right? And so in terms of ranking, you don't want to start out with your strongest stuff first. Because then you set the bar high, and everything fades for the rest of the essay, and it falls apart and it feels weak at the end. You also don't want to have your strongest stuff at the end, okay? Because then it takes too long to get to your good points. You've already lost the reader, okay? So I would typically say that you want your strongest stuff in the middle, okay? You don't want to start too weak, all right? So if I were to rank stuff, I would say average, strong, and weak, right? Then I would put strong right around the middle, okay? And then average and weak. All right? Now, this is personal preference too. You might feel like you always want to end with your home run evidence, right? But to me, as a reader of essays, right? If I read through, let's say you switch these up and you did strong down here, and you start with average and weak, you've already lost me, because I'm more than halfway through your essay and I'm thinking to myself, this is not good, you know? You haven't answered the question, you haven't done your job, right? So, and then then I get to your strongest point, and then I'm like, okay, so that was pretty good, but most of this essay was pretty weak. And most essays are scored holistically now, right? Like an overall picture. So your TOK essay is scored from 1 to 10. That's all it is, okay? Like it's 1 to 10. You don't get like a bunch of points for this, a bunch of points for that.
Is it just there's no decimals or?
No decimals. It's just from a 1 to a 10. A 9-10 is an A, a 7-8 is a B, a 5-6 is a C. All right? So, as I'm grading, I start to have a number in my head, right? So let's say this is, you go average week, right? Then I'm probably somewhere around a 5 or a 6 in my head as I'm scoring. I'm like, this is, 5, you know, and then I'm like, man, if they don't pull this together, this might drop down to a 4, you know, and then if you do come in with something strong, I'm like, okay, get you up to like around a 7, okay, but it's hard to recover once you start out so weak, okay, so you should always be thinking of your evidence. Now, there's other ways to order your evidence, right? This is sort of a strength type of evidence, but you can also do chronological, right? Like if it's a history paper, you might want to do chronological order for your evidence. That might make sense, okay? If it's literature, might make sense, almost certainly would make sense to sort of follow the plot, okay? But in terms of a TOK essay, an extended essay, a pure research paper, you probably want to look at the strength of your evidence. And this is just good practice too, because, and I think I'm gonna create like a little survey for you guys where like you look at your essay and you kind of like rank your sections. You know, because it's like you haven't looked at them in a while, right? So you look at your essay and you say, how do you feel this is from 1 to 10? And if you say, I think this is like a 3, this section sucks, then let's rewrite that section. You know, like let's get a better section. Okay. All right. So these are the basics of what the TOK essay is going to look like.